Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I got war paint behind me, and this week we're going to talk about my favorite Jeep mods. These are Jeep mods that any Jeep owner should have on their rig, regardless of whether they go off-roading or not. Let's dive in, let's check them out. You're not going to want to miss this. All right, guys, so all the things that we're going to talk about here are mods for any Jeep owner, right? Like I said a second ago, whether you actually take your Jeep off-road or you don't, these are things that you're going to want because they just make the day in the life of a Jeep owner more enjoyable, more comfortable, and more fun. So let's start at the front of the Jeep. We'll work our way back. A winch, right? That is an awesome Jeep mod, especially if you're going off-road. But let's face it, if you're looking to be one of the people that looks like you go off-road, you want the look of an off-road Jeep, you're still going to want to go out and pick up a winch, okay? Because anybody in the world knows that you never take your rig off-road if you don't have a winch on the front of your vehicle, okay? Especially those that do go off-road. Now, there's a number of different winches that you can buy. I happen to have one from Harbor Freight. The price point of this winch is unbelievable, and there's been a lot of reviews out there on winches, and the Harbor Freight winch always ranks among the top. So save a little money where you can. It has a great warranty, and I happen to swap my steel cable out for a synthetic line. Now, there's nothing wrong with a steel cable, right? Tow truck drivers use them all the time. They hardly ever break. But if you're not a professionally trained tow truck driver, you might want to go get a synthetic cable, swap it out. It is a lot safer if it should ever fail. But definitely pick yourself up a winch. All right, guys. So this is a hood vent, all right? My hood vent here happens to be made by a company called Poison Spider. There's a number of companies that make them. I did a review on this hood vent, and I really happen to like it, okay? That hood vent in the front basically allows all the heat that these engines make to escape when you're sitting there at a red light or something, idling anywhere. We all know modern engines run really hot for emissions. The problem with them running hot is it bakes all your wiring, all your insulation, all those kinds of things, and your electronics, your battery. It just bakes all that stuff. So giving that heat somewhere to go, especially when you're sitting idle, is definitely an awesome thing. Now, check out the review video on that hood vent because it doesn't do everything people quite think it does, and there's definitely a reason why you're going to want to go with a name brand versus one of the cheaper options. But a hood vent is definitely something anybody needs on a JKU, especially even a JL, because just the heat that these new engines have for emissions, it's just unbearable, and everything under your hood will last a lot longer. So if you're someone that has one of these rigs, you're definitely going to want to get yourself a hood vent. All right, so like we said, starting at the front of the Jeep, working toward the back, this next item I hold on the front of my Jeep, it is a high lift jack. Now, I'm going to make a video in the future on high lift jacks and how to use them because they are phenomenal tools and they have some really awesome uses. Heck, I even use them to mount and dismount my tires. And the subtle differences in some of the other brands don't accept those accessories, but the accessories they have for the high lift jack allow you to safely jack up your tires, stick like, you know, a jack stand underneath your axle, lower it back down, things like that. Because again, when you have a Jeep and you have so much suspension, right? If you try to jack up off the frame or something, you have to jack it up so high with so much axle droop to actually lift your tire. You really have to jack up the tire and then set it back down on top of something to do something like change a tire. It's a little bit different than a normal car, right? High Lift makes all those accessories. They're really awesome. I definitely love and use my high lift jack really often, okay? Now, one of the other things on this rig that we're going to talk about is very simple. There's a lot of mods out there for this, but it is the radio antenna. Now, this particular radio antenna, I haven't had any issues with it. I know a lot of people talk about radio antennas and how the smaller ones give them terrible reception. I'll link to this one in my description. I just bought it off Amazon, but it works really, really, really well. Like I said, I've never had an issue with it. So definitely a shorter antenna. Now, I like it because I actually go off-road, and when I'm driving through trails that have tree branches hanging down and things like that, it's a lot less to get caught on that kind of stuff. If you don't like it, it's personal preference, but I really like that. I think every Jeep owner should have a shorter antenna. It just adds to the look of the Jeep. Now, moving on, we're going to talk about one of the interior mods that I definitely feel like everybody that owns a Jeep should have, and that is grab handles. Now, these particular grab handles, okay, are attached to my roll cage. You can see I have an additional roll cage in there. You can see the crossbar there through the windshield. I did do a YouTube video on my roll cage and why I think it's a benefit. It's also not all that expensive, so you might want to check that out. But there's a lot of other companies that make grab handles for places up in the corner by the windshield, kind of where that one is, on top of the bar, right above the driver door. There's even companies that make them for the rear seat. And again, once you start lifting your vehicle, those grab handles come in handy. I'm over 6 feet tall. I even use the grab handles. So definitely something that makes a day in the life of being a Jeep owner a little bit nicer, a little bit more comfortable. Diff covers, okay? You're definitely gonna wanna pick yourself up a set of diff covers for your rig. They look awesome, okay? You can go see my diff cover video. I'll tag that in the description. There's a lot of benefits, okay? Diff covers allow you to put more fluid in your differential, help them run cooler even when you're just driving on the road. Diff covers give you more protection if you should ever take it off-road and you bump into a rock. The factory diff cover is really, really skinny and thin. And the aftermarket diff covers, they just look cool, right? As soon as you put a suspension lift on your Jeep and everyone can see your diff cover, it just adds a nice little touch to your axle, makes it look a little bit nicer. And like I said, adds a lot of protection, and there's definitely no downside to adding a set of diff covers on your rig. Depending upon the diff cover you choose, it also doesn't have to be all that expensive, all right? So diff covers are definitely something that people should get on their rig. Now, we're gonna walk with me here. We're gonna take a look at something. This is a little bit of a Jeep mod. I haven't done a video showing how to do this mod, but I love it, okay? Particularly if you have a JK, okay? Now this isn't gonna work if you have a TJ, a YJ, or even a JL. And that's simply because they are the JL hood latches. Now, the JK hood latches have a piece of rubber that mounts on the bottom, stretches to the top, and clips over a mount on your hood. That's fine. The problem is, over time, that rubber rots and that rubber can crack, and then you certainly do not want your hood flying up while you're driving down the highway. Now, you can buy a set of JL hood latches, and like many things that they did with the JL, when they went to that from the JK, they did it right. The JL hood latches are really nice in the way that they connect and the way that they lock down your hood. Rock lights are great if you're going camping, right? They put out a lot of light underground around the vehicle, as you just saw in that quick little video clip of me off-roading. They're great when you are off-roading, okay? These particular rock lights, as you saw, adjust to many, many different colors. But if you get a set or you adjust it to a white color, they put out enough light to where you can see around the vehicle at night, see what rocks are under your tires, make sure you're picking the right line for you. They light up your wheel wells and under the rig really well. So if you ever needed to service the vehicle or repair the vehicle at night on the side of the road, benefit to have. They're LEDs, they pull no battery. So even if your vehicle's off, they're gonna drain the battery so slowly, it's not gonna be a factor. And they also just look really cool, right? A lot of you guys are into that. Jeep mods that just look cool, right? So rock lights are something, they're super easy to install. They're low voltage. Make sure you do it right or have someone do it if you're not comfortable with doing that kind of wiring. There are plenty of videos out there showing you how to install them and where to place them. But I personally have 8 of those little pods that you saw under the Jeep and around the vehicle, and they just kind of light up the entire thing. So rock lights are another one of my favorites. All right, so we are obviously over here at the back of the Jeep. Just showed you the inside. I have a subwoofer in there. Now, that subwoofer is only a 10-inch sub, okay? It's self-powered, it does not take up a lot of room. You guys have seen in my videos on how I pack my rig and store my spare tire inside. Being a 40, it secures my tools, leaves plenty of room for everything. I don't have any issues with it. But an increased stereo system, one better than the factory, is a must in any Jeep, and it doesn't have to be expensive. So here's some of the mods that I did. Let's check them out. First things first, inside the rig, you're gonna want an upgraded head unit, okay? One that's gonna put out more than like 10 watts or whatever that stupid little factory one is to all your speakers. It's gonna increase the sound quality and make it a lot nicer. I have a Sony head unit. It has Apple CarPlay, it's got Bluetooth, it's got everything in it. It'll play my playlists right off my phone. It's got everything in it that I could want, okay? And it sends out a lot more wattage to each speaker. I think it sends out 60 watts to each speaker, or right in the vicinity of that. Now for speakers, again, I didn't go crazy, okay? But down in these speaker boxes, there's one here, and then there's another one over on the driver's side. These speaker boxes, I put a 6.5-inch kicker speaker. It's not the top of the line speaker out there at all, okay? I filled these boxes with polyfill, like the stuff that's inside of like your stuffed animal that you used to hit your sister or your brother with when you were a little kid. Fill the boxes with some polyfill, put the speaker in there, they work perfectly. I also put the same 6.5-inch speakers in the speaker bar above the front seats. And guys, having the added wattage, having a little bit more bass, a little bit more depth to the music, and having just a halfway decent speaker in here allows, when you have your top off and your doors off, to actually be able to hear the music. It's pretty awesome. Last but not least, one of my most favorite Jeep mods that everybody should have, and it's probably the cheapest, the Jscan app, okay? Hope you guys can see that. The Jscan app on your phone is very, very inexpensive, okay? It's basically a code reader anytime you have something go wrong with the vehicle, but it does a lot more than that, okay? It allows you to program when your daytime running lights are on. It allows you to say, hey, I don't want my headlights on, but I want my fog lights on. It allows you to program tire sizes in so that your skid control and your speedometer is accurate. It allows you to reprogram it for different gears. It allows you to run live data if you're a little bit of a mechanic and you want to be able to diagnose something, right? Guys, it does so much. It allows you to reflash and restart your transmission as far as shift points and things like that go for when you do put larger tires on. Guys, it just allows you to do so much stuff on that Jscan app, and it really works on the Jeeps phenomenally, okay? When I switched to my 1-ton axles, I was able to get the tone rings in my ABS system to work. I was able to get the tire size, the gear ratios. I mean, this Jeep drives without a check engine light on, and I have axles under it from an F250 and in the rear from a Chevy 2500. And as finicky as these computer systems are, it works absolutely perfectly. Now the app, the time I downloaded it, I want to say that it cost me about $19 to load my VIN number into the app. That's a one-time fee. Once you do it, you're done. And then you have to buy an OBD2 Bluetooth reader. I bought one that they recommended right on their website. I ordered it off Amazon. I want to say that was maybe $30. So for $50, you have a great programmer slash code reader. It's not a tuner. You're not going to be able to get more power out of your Jeep with this, but you can absolutely run live data and do a whole host of other things to troubleshoot your Jeep and make some adjustments on the factory settings. It's phenomenal. All right, guys, so there you have it, all right? Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you share this video. Definitely hit that thumbs up, give it a like. And guys, these Jeep mods, like I said in the beginning, they're fairly inexpensive. They're things that anybody can do to their rig, whether they're going off-road or not. Make sure you check out some of the linked videos in the description that I mentioned in here if you want to learn more about that roll cage, that soft top, things like that. And always come back to the channel, guys. New videos every week, and we got a lot more stuff coming. Thanks. Get out there and build something.